At 66 years old, Marie Osmond is finally telling her story about Andy Gibb. Marie Osmond was born Olive Marie Osmond on October 13, 1959, in Ogden, Utah. She was the eighth of 9 children in the very famous Osmond family. Yet she quickly made a special name for herself that was only her own. While her brothers became super famous as a singing group in the 1960s and 70s, Marie's amazing voice, her nice way of acting, and how much people loved watching her on stage put her on a bright path all alone, a path that would make her an idol of strength, class, and being good at many kinds of art. From the very start, Marie showed a rare mix of being innocent and very good at her job. When she was just 13 years old, she stepped into the spotlight with a singing career all by herself that surprised everyone in the music business. Her very first big hit song, Paper Roses, became a classic right away, shooting up the music charts and making her known as one of the youngest girl singers to ever be that successful. The song felt deeply emotional, and Marie's angel-like but strong singing won the hearts of listeners all over the world and started a career known for being real and telling stories from the heart. As the years went by, she kept putting out albums that showed how many things she could sing, from old-style country music to new pop songs to songs inspired by Broadway shows, showing that her art kept growing, which made her fans love her even more. Of course, you can't talk about Marie's famous rise without talking about her unforgettable work with her brother, Donnie. In the 1970s, Donnie and Marie became one of the most liked and most important variety shows of that time. Every week, the brother and sister brought laughs, music, funny skits, and clean fun into millions of homes in America. Their connection was like electricity, their humor was sweet, and their natural way of talking to each other was one of the nicest things ever on TV. People didn't just watch Donnie and Marie. They felt like the two of them were part of their own family. Marie's quick mind, her fun way of acting, and her fancy costumes made her a special star, proving she had the charm and funny timing to be great in any kind of show. Marie's success kept going when she became an adult, growing way past her first singing and TV fame. She took on new hard things and did great on stage, starring in Broadway plays like The King and I and the Sound of Music, where people praised her performances for being deeply emotional and showing off her strong voice. She also showed she was a very smart businesswoman, becoming one of the first to design and sell products with her much-loved Marie Osmond dolls, a very successful line of collectible toys that showed her creativity and business smarts. From hosting TV shows to talking on the radio to being in big reality contests like Dancing with the Stars, Marie proved again and again that changing and trying new things was one of her best skills. In 2004, Marie Osmond showed again that changing and trying new things is one of her best gifts when she bravely stepped into the world of radio with her own national show, Marie and Friends. The show wasn't just another celebrity trying to look important. It became a warm, welcoming place where Marie's special humor, kindness, and quick mind created real talks with famous people, smart helpers, and fans from all over the country. Her ability to connect so easily with the people listening reminded everyone why she had been a favorite household name for decades. Just a few years later in 2007, she surprised and made fans happy again when she joined the popular TV show Dancing with the Stars, showing a new side of herself as she faced the tough physical and emotional job of competitive dancing. Her performances, full of strong will, showing her feelings and surprising athleticism, won the hearts of viewers and introduced her to a whole new group of young fans. Then came one of the most famous times that two stars got back together in Las Vegas. In 2008, Marie and her brother Donnie brought back the special feeling of their famous show, starting a high-energy, family-friendly show that stayed at the Flamingo Hotel. What was only supposed to be a 6-week show turned into an amazing 11-year run, lasting until 2019. Audiences filled the theater every night to remember old favorite songs, enjoy new funny parts, and see the natural connection that only siblings with many years of history could give. The big hit of their stage show led to the 2009 release of a singing album of duets called simply Donnie and Marie, catching the feeling of their live performances and reminding fans why their musical bond had lasted through many generations. Marie's creative energy didn't slow down. In 2010, she released her solo studio album that made people feel hopeful. I Can Do This, a project full of ideas about strength, faith, and personal power. These are the good things she has shown throughout her career. 6 years later, in 2016, she made a big comeback to her country music beginnings with the sincere album Music is Medicine, working with many different singers and celebrating the healing power of music. And in 2021, she bravely tried a new type of singing again with the classical crossover album Unexpected, a stunning showcase of her voice that showed the full depth and grown-up power of her voice while surprising audiences with how beautiful and emotional it was. Doing more than just music, Marie also joined the group of daytime hosts on the show The Talk from 2019 to 2020, where she brought truth, humor, and honest personal stories to national television every weekday. And her acting career kept getting better, too. She appeared in a series of Lifetime original movies, including the nice holiday film The Christmas Edition in 2020, showing even more how good she is at many things and how much people still love her. Yet, even with all the fame and spotlight, Marie's personal journey showed a deep courage that people loved even more. She has faced really hard times, people watching and judging her, health problems, and heartbreaking losses. Yet she has always faced these hard times with respect, honesty, and constant hope. Her openness about things like sadness after giving birth helped make the problem less of a secret and encouraged countless others to get help during their saddest times. Most importantly, her many years of helping others, especially her part in starting Children's Miracle Network hospitals, has changed and saved countless lives, raising billions of dollars for sick children. Her kindness, giving spirit, and commitment to helping are just as important to her story as any song, show, or moment in the spotlight. Marie Osmond's personal life, especially her marriages, shows a journey marked by love, sadness, strength, and the search for someone to stay with forever. Her first marriage was to Stephen Lyle Craig, a basketball player from Brigham Young University whose quiet strength and down-to-earth personality were very attractive to Marie during a time in her life when she was dealing with the growing pressures of being famous. The couple got married in 1982, and even though their relationship started with real love and hope for the future, the demands of stardom, busy touring schedules, and the difficulty of balancing a very public job with a private home life put a huge stress on their young marriage. After only 3 years together, the relationship ended in a divorce in 1985. This was a difficult and emotionally painful time for Marie, who has often talked about how the experience forced her to think again about her life and what was truly important to her feelings. Even though the marriage ended, Marie and Stephen kept a feeling of respect for each other, something that would become super important decades later. In 1986, Marie got married a second time, this time to Brian Blossel, a record producer she met through her work in the fun business. Their marriage lasted over 20 years, a long and complicated time full of both great happiness and hard problems. Together, they raised a large family, with both children born to them and adopted children. And Marie has openly talked about how being a mother during those years was one of the most satisfying parts of her life. However, away from the public eye, the relationship had deep emotional struggles. The couple faced many hard times, including Marie's struggles with sadness after giving birth, the stresses of the show business world, and intense family difficulties. Their marriage finally ended in 2007, a decision Marie said was painful but necessary for her to feel okay inside. Even though the divorce was hard, Marie kept her promise to her children and worked very hard to rebuild her life both personally and with her job. In a surprising turn of events that caught the attention of fans all over the world, Marie Osmond and Stephen Lyle Craig found their way back to each other many years after their divorce. The getting back together started slowly as the two continued to be involved in each other's lives through their son. And over time, old hurts healed and a new love grew. In 2011, almost 26 years after they first went their separate ways, Marie and Stephen got married again in a beautiful and deeply meaningful ceremony. For Marie, the reunion was a symbol of not just a second chance at love, but also proof of forgiveness, growing up, and the unexpected ways life can come back full circle. Their second marriage has often been described by Marie as one of the greatest gifts of her later years. Proof that sometimes the heart really does know what it wants, even if it takes a whole lifetime to figure it out. At 66 years old, Marie Osmond has reached a time in her life where looking back is easy, and the stories she once kept secret now feel ready to be shared with the world. When she finally decided to talk openly. Why about her connection with Andy Gibb, the youngest and most charming of the Gibb brothers, fans were shocked. For many years, people had whispered stories about the two young stars. Both were loved by millions, both were dealing with the hard parts of fame, and both were trying to stay true to themselves in the harsh spotlight of the entertainment world. Now, Marie chose to tell what really happened behind the scenes, offering the truth shaped by years of growing up and healing. Marie explained that Andy Gibb was not just another famous person she met while she was becoming a star. He was someone she felt a real and special connection with. As she said it, Andy had this bright light about him. When he walked into a room, it wasn't just charm, it was warmth. You felt like you'd known him forever. She admitted that their friendship grew quickly, helped by them understanding each other. Both had been pushed into the entertainment world when they were very young. Both were expected to look perfect in public, and both secretly wished for someone who truly understood how much fame hurt emotionally. But Marie also spoke honestly about the darker side of Andy's life, something she said she sensed even when they first met. There was a sadness in him, she said. He tried to hide it with jokes and charm, but sometimes when everything got quiet, you could see it in his eyes. Marie said she often felt torn between wanting to help him and knowing that some hard fights had to be fought alone. She talked about how the pressures Andy faced were huge, the things his record company expected, the comparisons to his famous brothers, and his struggle to handle the overwhelming speed of his career. Marie admitted that one of the hardest truths she has kept is how fragile Andy's feelings were. She remembers times when he confided in her, telling her fears he wouldn't share with others. Andy told me once that he felt like he was running out of time, she recalled. I didn't understand what he meant back then, but now it breaks my heart. Despite how close they were, she said their lives were going in different ways. Hers was full of the strict rules of variety shows and family duties, and his was more and more affected by personal struggles and job pressures. Even so, Marie emphasized that Andy Gibb was much more than the bad headlines that later defined him. She wanted people to remember not just the tragedy of his last years, but the sweetness, kindness, and generosity he gave to the people around him. Andy was tender, she said. He cared deeply, sometimes too deeply, and that's what people don't always see. He wasn't just a superstar. He was a human being searching for peace. Looking back, Marie expressed a mix of thankfulness and sadness. Thankfulness for having known Andy during a time when his spirit was still shining brightly, and sorrow for the moments she wishes she could go back to. Times when a few more words of encouragement or understanding might have made a difference. "If I could tell him anything now," she said softly, "I'd tell him he mattered, that the world was better with him in it." Her truth about Andy Gibb is not about scandal or a secret romance. It is the truth of two young stars whose paths crossed, who shared real affection, and who faced the heavy burdens of fame. And at 66, Marie Osmond finally felt ready to honor that truth with compassion, honesty, and the hope that remembering Andy this way will help keep his spirit alive.